Hello everyone, present here virtually. I am Pallavi here and I welcome you all for today's session, which is titled as Why Countries Are Rich and Why Are Poor. And presenting this session, we have with us our today's expert, Dr. Jericho Duran-Isija. Dr. Jericho Duran-Isija is a research teacher, school coordinator, international research presenter, and speaker, editorial board member of a certain international journal, and a peer reviewer, a graduate in Doctor of Management Technology, and a Google Scholar. Without wasting much time, I am welcome to Jericho Isija, sir. You may start now, sir.
Okay. Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am very thankful to Business Roger and the Research Circle. To start with, I am Sir Jericho Isija from Eastern Samar. I am currently working under the Department of Education. I am teaching a senior high school at the senior high school level, teaching practical research and management in the senior high school department. So I will be talking on this topic, one of the hottest topic, why countries are rich and why are poor. Why are what makes country richer and what makes country poorer? Okay, so this is in parallel to our economic questions. And to start with, um, what is really the difference between the rich and the poor countries? Actually, there is no indicator. There is no sufficient indicator as to determination of the disparity between the rich and poor. It is revealed in the second slide of my presentation. The difference between rich and poor countries is not the age of the country. Okay, so it's not the age of the country, because if we consider this indicator, India and Egypt are more than 2,000 years old, but okay, they are considered poor. Okay, Canada, Australia, New Zealand are 150 years ago were inexpressive. Today are developed countries and rich. So it's not about the age of the country, because we have Canada, we have Australia, we have New Zealand, which are considered developed countries. Okay, so it's not the age of the country that determines the richness and the poorness of a country. Okay, next slide will be the difference between poor and rich countries does not reside. Okay, that does not reside in the availability of natural resources of the country. We can consider example. Example we have is Japan. Okay, so Japan has limited. Actually, it has a limited territory, 80% mountainous, inadequate for agriculture and cattle raising. But second, okay, but second world considered second world country. Moreover, importing raw materials from the whole world and exporting manufactured products. So to state this, the difference between poor and rich countries does not rely, okay, on the natural resources. Okay, in the third slide, Switzerland does not plant cocoa, but has the best chocolate of the world. Okay, best chocolate of the world. In 4 months per year, they raise animals and plant soil. They produce dairy products of the best quality. Okay, so a small country that transmit an image of security, order, and labor. So this is the indicator that natural resources could not be a factor in determining the rich and the poor country. Okay, so in the next slide, I will be talking on intellectual difference. Is it intellectual difference could mean so much in determining rich and poor countries? Intellectual difference is not a factor. Okay, it's not a factor for disparity of okay, rich and poor ones. Race or skin color also not important. Immigrants labeled lazy in their origin countries are the productive power in rich European countries. Okay, so it's not a factor of disparity on race or skin color. Do not affect in the determination of category of the rich and poor country. So what is then? The question is, what is then the difference between rich and poor country? Okay, in the next slide, I will be revealing the secrets of determination of rich and poor countries. So we have here, next slide, the determinant of the rich and poor country is actually the attitude. Okay, the attitude of people framed along the years by culture, by culture and education. Okay, so to reiterate the word, the determinant of the rich and poor country disparity. We will try to discover, explore the disparity. Is it more focused on attitude of the people. We lack attitude. So the country that has good attitude has the or have the possibility to prosper and attain the economic goal and the societal goal of the country. Okay, so it's the attitude that will determine the rich and poor country. Next slide on analyzing the behavior. Okay, we have on analyzing the behavior of the people in rich and developed countries. We find that great majority follow the following principles in their lives. Okay, so it matters in the behavior, it matters in the character and the personality of the individual living in a particular community or society. So what are the principles? The next slide will talk on the secrets on the polishing the attitude of the people living in a certain country. So number one principle in parallel to good attitudes will be ethics. Okay, so when we speak of ethics, it has something to do with morality. Okay, morality, the behavior of the people, the correct principles, correct living. That's morality as basic. So we have here ethics. Ethics is a basic, no, it's a basic principle. Number two item. Number two indicator of attitude being determinant of rich and poor country. So we have number two is integrity. Integrity, when we speak of integrity, it belongs to how people know you based on your competence, based on your character, based on your characteristics. I mean, the qualities that you have is integrity. How you handle your pressure, how you handle your stress, how you handle your obligation as a part of the workforce, if you are considered, if you are part of the organization. Okay, it's integrity. Integrity is one of the important um, elements in, or one of the characteristics of a certain individual, integrity. So we move on to the third principle that connects to the attitude of the person is responsibility. So when we speak of responsibility, actually is it has something to do with how you handle your task in a given situation. If you are an employee, if you are an employee of a certain company or firm, it's how you are being responsible, how you tackle your rules in the organization, how can you contribute to the organization, to the overall growth of the organization. That's we talk on responsibility. Okay, we move on to the fourth one. The fourth element is respect to the laws. So we cannot deny the fact that laws and rules are important in a certain firm, in a certain organization. Okay, so respect to the protocols, respecting the authorities behind the rules prescribed in the society, is in the organization, is a big factor. Okay, we move on to the number six principle is the loving, or when we say loving work, it has something to do with your determination, your commitment, to the ability to finish your work, your commitment, your dedication towards work's accomplishment in determining the company's in the realization of the company's objective, the mission, and the vision of the company. So that's how you handle your work properly. How are you going to translate your task into rightful um, outputs? Okay, so work loving, that's number six principle. We move on to the number seven principle. We have strive. Okay, strive for saving and investment. I should say, saving entails the proper mindset, the proper attitude of handling your finances, saving, and at the same time, your investment, your ability to to put some money or capital in a certain project. Okay, that's investment, and your ability to have or calculate your to incur your return of investment. How you be able uh, to understand transactions and some investment strategies that your company will be employing. So that's number seven, striving for saving, saving and investment. Also, we have principle number eight. Will the willingness, the will of super action. Okay, so your ability to translate your the vision, mission of the company, your action towards work, your not only your work, but how you um, handle the organization's task, the expectation of your employer. Okay, so the super actions, it is something to do with the action, the super action, the willingness to be part of the organization, to be part of the solution of every challenges in a certain organization. We also have the number nine, which is the last principle. The last but not the least is um, punctuality. It's something to do with punctuality. When we say punctuality, it is utilizing the amount of time that you have. Punctuality is you have the mindset preparation, your time preparation, because you believe that time is the number one element towards realization of work. So you are ahead of time, just punctuality. You're ready and you are willing to finish your task. Okay, so those are the principles that separates rich and poor countries connected or in parallel to the concept that I mentioned, which is the attitude of one's people. Okay, so the next slide. We are not poor, actually. We are not poor because we lack natural resources. Okay, so uh, we are not poor because we lack natural resources or because nature was cruel to us. Okay, we are poor because we lack attitude. So yes, it's the attitude that determines that separates the poor and rich country. In the next slide, we lack the will to comply and teach. We lack the will to comply with and teach the functional principles of rich and developed society. We lack these principles, this ethics, this integrity, the responsibility, the respect to laws and rules, okay, respect to the rights of other citizens, work loving, strive for saving and investment, the will and the super action, okay, and of course the punctuality or being on time, okay. So we lack the will to comply with these functional principles of rich and developed society. These are determinants. Okay, these are determinants in the realization of the societal function, the economic progress, the goals and aspirations of a certain country. In poor countries, only minority follow these basic principles. Okay, so only minority follow these principles in their daily life. Okay, so the rich countries, I mean, have this good principles, while the poor countries are not observing this kind of basic principles that I have mentioned earlier. Okay, so in the next slide, in the concept of, I would like to borrow the concept of Peter Drucker, one of the significant guru. Peter Drucker said that the ultimate resource in economic development is people. So people with right attitude. It is people. Okay, it is people, not capital or raw materials that develop an economy. So people with right mindset, with right character, with right attitude will be a contributing factor, will be the lead factor in determining the rich and the poor countries. If people have a good attitude, so there is a great chance to develop that country from poor country to rich country. Okay. This is again the speaker, your speaker, Sir Jericho, and I'm thankful to the webinar audience all over the world. So once again, uh, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Thank you so much, sir, for this very nice session. If anyone has any question, you can ask.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, all the participants, for your active participation. Let me inform to all that this complete session will be available on our Business Rozgar YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it again and want to share it somebody, please do visit the Business Rozgar YouTube channel. Thanks. And last but not the least, thank you so much, Dr. Jericho Isija sir, for taking out time for session. With our permission, I would like to end today's session here. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Business Roger and Research Circle. Thank you so much. Thank you for lending your ears.